I show that it's 9 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get going and be respectful of everyone's time. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name is Scott Kitzman. I'm the SwimCloud's Client Success Manager. Basically, what that means is I'm a non-technical guy that is able to go out and talk to people and try to help spread the word about SwimCloud, help with a little bit of onboarding issues, how the program runs, and things like that. It's a great program. We've got a lot of people from across the country on this morning, and it's great to see everybody. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to hop right into it here this morning. And here is a little quick agenda for what we're going to go over. I'm going to cover, first of all, team setup and customization. Every team gets a SwimCloud page for free. Next, because this is about swim meet management, can't have a swim meet without a roster, so we'll go over some roster things. So let's hop right to it. First thing that you can do on SwimCloud is you can personalize the experience that you have by selecting this button up here. I know there's some Arkansas coaches on here. You can drop this down and select your conference or your whole state. And by doing that, we're going to show you the results for your region and also the upcoming championship meets. And we'll get back to this a little bit later. Meanwhile, I have the ability with my permissions on SwimCloud to impersonate another coach. In this case, I've impersonated Christine Cuspa, my kid's high school swim coach. And anytime you need to do anything with your account, you can click this button up here, check your subscriptions. You can go back your account settings, change your email, change your password, and also just simply log out. But here, let's go to every team, as I mentioned, has a free page on SwimCloud. This is what the school's page looks like. Everyone, when you become a SwimCloud approved coach, you'll get this manage button. And so when you hit the manage button, you're able to input all sorts of information about your team, address, if you have a website, a Facebook URL, Twitter, or Instagram. You can put all that in there. You can upload your logo and a cover page. Moving left to right, we then show you all of your meets, and we'll come back to this add a meet button later. But these are all the meets that this school has participated in or has not submitted results yet. Most importantly about today's discussion is roster. For those of you that have used SwimCloud before, like Griselle in Chicago, I know she's on the call this morning, this has changed a little bit. Here's your roster. Roster comes from swim meet results that have been submitted in the past. So we take those results, we parse them. We know that your team had this swimmer, and we put those swimmers in your roster. So what do you do if you have a new swimmer, a freshman, or someone who has not competed on a club team or on a middle school team before? You just simply hit add swimmer. And there's two ways to do it. You can upload a previous result, which is probably the easiest, or you can add a swimmer manually. So as I mentioned before, club swimmers, middle school swimmers, anybody else, one swimmer on SwimCloud can have many team associations, okay? And so many of your high school swimmers probably swim for a club that may have submitted swim meet results to SwimCloud. If that's the case, then that swimmer is already going to be in the database. So in this case, Austin Anderson here, you can scroll down. This kid is a new freshman on this team. We could select Austin Anderson, add him to the roster, and away we go. Or you could add a swimmer manually, and I'm just going to make up something that isn't going to be found in the database, somebody with ZZZ. You just hit create new, follow the dialogue, and that's how you would create a new swimmer on your roster in SwimCloud. A few other things about your roster as long as we're at it. We've made it much easier for you to manage really critical things about your swimmer's profile. Probably the most critical thing is their actual true date of birth. As we process swim meet results, We get results from a club team. We get results from high school. We get results from middle school teams or summer league. We try to match those profiles up as closely as possible. The best way that we can do this is through the date of birth, because the club coach might call the swimmer Robert A. Smith. The high school coach might name him Bobby A. Smith. But if the birth dates are the same, we're going to have a greater likelihood of matching those people up. If you need to adjust that, you can simply click on any one of these. Basically, anything blue in SwimCloud is a clickable link, okay? Now, Austin Anderson here, his is black. Now, the reason his is black is because Austin has claimed his profile. Every one of your swimmers can claim their own profile. And once they do, they'll get the ability to customize their own presence on SwimCloud. It's completely free. It's more of an opt-in feature. They don't have to claim their profile, but they can. But since Austin's claimed his profile and he's put in his email address, we assume that we give him the ability to manage his own birth date and his own graduation year. Who better to know what date he was born and what year he's going to graduate than Austin Anderson, okay? That's new feature recently. These 3 radio buttons over here on the right side give you a few other things. Let's say that Tanner here doesn't want to go by Tanner. You could call him something else. So you could put in his nickname here, and that would show up throughout the reports. You can change all this information as a high school coach. We give the swimmers the ability to put in their Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram information as well. College recruiters really like to have that. Additionally, let's say Tanner doesn't make the team or doesn't come back out for the team. You can remove him from this active roster, okay? Tags. Tags are a pretty cool feature, and you can use them in a variety of ways. I've created a tag called sprinters. We give coaches who have the ability to manage their team communication properties. So you can select some swimmers here and you can email them. Practice. Now, right now, we only know Austin Anderson's email address. So you could send out an email to Austin Anderson. We give you a couple templates, kind of make your team look a little professional, okay? So this is one reason why you would probably want all of your swimmers to claim their profile. You could set up separate tags, like I have one here set up for sprinters. So you could send an email out to just the sprinters that says, hey, we're having practice, special practice on Saturday, whatever it may be, or a tag for the whole team. It's totally up to you how you use tags, and you'd be able to manage them all the way through, okay? So that's primarily the roster. I want to slide in now to a swimmer's profile. And I'm just going to touch on this. This is my son, Jack. Every swimmer on SwimCloud has a profile. We match club results, we match high school results, collegiate results. All the results get matched up into one profile. We create a recruiting index, and we rank, because we're a bunch of swim nerds, we use data and we rank absolutely everything. This is a whole nother discussion, and if you go to our YouTube channel, I have a couple presentations specifically about recruiting. If you would like me to do a presentation for your team or your high school region about recruiting, I'd be happy to do that, but that's not what this is for. We rank swimmers on a number of levels. So here's my son's ranking within club open, within his 13-14 age group. So within the Wisconsin Swimming LSC, if you click on this, he is ranked 10th in the LSC based on a point system. Let's click on these points. So this is this point system that was used to derive this score. And you can tell here NAG, the National Age Group Record. So we have a proprietary algorithm that ranks everybody based on either FINA, which is the world record time, or the national age group record time for, in this instance, the 200 free. So based on the base time, which in this case is the national age group record, and the swimmer's actual time, we assign a point value to it. Okay, great. What does this mean, and how does this help you as a coach? All the swimmers think that their 50 free is by far their best event because it's easy, it's down and back. But in this case, clearly Jack's 200 free scores more points than his 50 free, right? So it just gives you a little bit more room to have a discussion about what a swimmer's best event is, okay? As a coach, it's also nice to have data. Again, we combine data about the club results and the high school results. So here are the times from Jack's Wisconsin 13 and over short course state meet. You can click this drop down, and these are all the results that he's had recently. You want to know his fastest times? Here you go. By every event. Or better yet, we can go look at each event. So in the 50 freestyle, you can go back through and look at a swimmer's progression. So back from October of 2017 all the way down through March of 2020. And we denote personal bests. It's just a great way for the swimmer, the parents, the coach to again see the data and be open and honest about everything. Here's his long course 50-meter times. Then we track a swimmer's progress. This would be his overall progress. You can drop down and take a look at his 200 free. And for all the high school coaches that are on this call, this is the best way to get your high school coaches, your high school swimmers, recruited, because the college recruiters have access to this as well. Your swimmers can upload a profile pic, and these are their times. And again, I'm just showing you this, not just because he's my son, but I know he won't care about having his data out there. So that's a swimmer profile and a swimmer's rankings. Okay. Let's go back to the team's rankings. So each team has a ranking. I went back to women's because in Illinois, the women's season just finished. So if I click that, it should be correct. And so what we do is we will build, with our algorithm, the best dual meet lineup for your team. And we'll put that out for you. And we'll say how we derived it and who's scoring those points. So overall, this Hononegah team has a ranking or a point total of 426. In Chicago, they're using these rankings to derive a bracket tournament at the end of the season. So this is our NIC 10 conference in Illinois, and you can see my kids' high school team is at the top. But in Chicago, that's how they're using this. I know some of the New York teams are thinking about doing this as well, because we can't all get together in a big season and championship meet. This is one way that teams are going about doing it. So that is how we derive a team's points and swimmers' points. Any questions? Feel free to put them in the question and answer section. But that's a real quick overview of teams, rosters, swimmer profiles, and team rankings. Any questions at all? If not, I'm going to go into really kind of the meat and potatoes about what I want to show you all here, and that's swim meet management, online entries, and the digitizing process. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on with how that works. Okay, if you notice, when you log in, you're going to get presented. I'm impersonating the coach from Hananiga High School. So you can, on the left menu, just hit Hananiga. We have some quick links to your roster or to your meets. So let's go ahead and set up a meet. Just go add meet. We're going to select a date, and let's put a meet out here for, the Saturday of Thanksgiving. Why not? We're going to create new. We have the ability to select your opponents. So I'm just going to pick another team in our conference, Harlem High School. The host is Hananiga. The course, you can set up your course. We support short course meters, long course meters. And for those teams upstate New York and in Chicago, some 20-yard pools. Where it's at, I glossed over this in the team setup, but you are able to enter your facility information. But these are the two facilities where the Hananiga High School team swims and competes. So we're going to select the Boylan Swim Complex and create. So there we go. Here's our meet, Hananiga versus Harlem. It's upcoming. Click on it. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to manage this meet. And just like with teams, we're going to work from our left side all the way to the right. So here's everything about the meet, Hananiga versus Harlem. If you have a custom logo, you can change the logo, the start time of the meet, the end date of the meet, what time zone it's in. This is important for digitizing, which we'll get into a little bit later. With COVID, a lot of teams are using Facebook Live and other means of putting live events on the internet. You can post that here, and any parent swimmers can see that information on this meet. If there's a Twitter hashtag you want to use for this meet, put that in there, and anytime somebody tweets that hashtag, we'll put that down here, okay? We do support virtual meets, and we do support intra-squad meets. I'll try to get back to that later. If I don't, remind me. Resources. These are just some basic things. If it's a big club meet and there's hotels, or if it's a championship meet and you've got a t-shirt vendor, you could put all sorts of things out there on the page, or you could put in an external link. Again, just a landing page for you to promote all the stuff to the parents, the coaches, and the swimmers that are attending the meet that they may want to take interest in. Again, here's the facility, and you'll see where this comes in. Permissions. This is new this year. It tripped some of us up in Chicago and also in New York when we started using this before. But right now, we set this up with the mindset that a championship meet that's run on SwimCloud should be open, fair, and honest. A lot of times, we all know, certainly not pointing fingers, but there's always that sort of question in our mind when we're attending a championship meet, when the host team receives entries, did they really do their entries beforehand or after the fact or whatever? So in this instance, because I'm impersonating Christine Cuspa, Christine is the one that set up this meet. Anybody can manage a meet. It could be an official, it could be the host team, it could be whomever. But in this case, since it's a simple little dual meet, we're going to add the other coach from Harlem. We're going to add Todd Mueller, and we're going to add him. By doing that, Todd gets an email from SwimCloud that says he's been added as a manager of this meet. And I'll get into a little bit here what this means. But if you're hosting a championship meet or a conference meet, we're able to accept swim meet entries blindly and fairly with this feature here. It's super, super cool. Those of you on the call from Arkansas, this is how you're going to be entering your state meet, is through SwimCloud, okay? So we've got everything about the meet pretty well set up. Now we go next to our rules. Well, when do we want to have the entries in? The meet's on Saturday. We want to have some time to do it. Thanksgiving is Thursday. Let's have the meet entries be due on the 24th at, not 12 a.m., but noon in Chicago. Entry limits. fairly typical. An athlete for this meet, let's say they can swim 2 individuals, 3 relays for a total of 4. And all of this is changeable. Team entries in an individual event, no limit, or do we want to limit it down? Well, let's just say because of COVID, only 3 individuals and 2 relays. Down here, entry times. Do we want to require valid entry times? If you click yes, up comes a bunch of stuff. Again, those Arkansas coaches that are on here, we'll hop into your state meet later on, but it's set up that we need valid entry times and that the qualifying times must be achieved within the last year or between a certain date, right? Qualifying times must be achieved only from Illinois high school swimming. Basically meaning club times won't count. There's all sorts of ways that you can go down through here and limit down or make it unlimited how you want to accept entries. This is more specific countries. This pretty much doesn't apply to high schools. Limit qualifiers to meet opponents. That again applies more often to like a big invite or a high school state meet. Do you want to allow exhibition events, bonus events? If you click this, basically it ignores every rule that's out there. Relay alternates and all that stuff. Seating, it's a 6-lane pool. How's scoring work? Well, we're going to use 3 scores for the team, 2 scores for relays. We have some basic high school scoring. Since it's a 6-lane pool, we're going to use 6-lane scoring. Or hit this little button and you can come up with custom scoring. Just separate it by commas. All right. Working on down. This is new. Some presets. We used to show presets of all sorts of meets, college meets, club meets, all sorts of stuff, but we're now limiting it down to, so this is, let's make this a high school meet, men with JV. So we populate an event list. Those of you that have used SwimCloud in the past, this is brand new as of a couple days ago. This little grab bar here. Let's say we want to do diving at the beginning of the meet. We move diving up, renumber events, and away you go. That is just, to me, I've used High Tech, I've used Team Unify, I've used all that stuff. This here is just the craziest easy way to set up an event file. If we're not going to use junior varsity, we can go ahead and delete out all the junior varsity events, which I'm going to go ahead and do. Cool. There's our event list. If you want to do something different, let's say we're going to add a 50 backstroke. Then, oops, that's 50 free. 50 back. There you go. Super, super easy. Next, time standards. If this was a meet where you needed a qualifying time, much like some of the state meets, Arkansas and New York and some others. Again, I'll show examples in a little bit. I kind of want to go fast and get through all this. You just simply add a time standard here. Call this EXP, for example, choose a color, hit save, and you can put in the time. So 2 minutes for that. And I'll show you what that does later on. Next, teams. We've already added Harlem, but let's say down the road you get a call from somebody else. Yeah, sure, you can join us. Come on aboard. So we just added another team. The coolest thing about this is when we go to, let's take a look at Harlem High School now. So now this is Harlem's page. When you go to their meets, upcoming, we automatically put that on their schedule. I know a lot of organizations, I think Chicago is moving toward this. I know New York is. When you're the host team and you put the meet, it's kind of your responsibility as the host to put the meet on SwimCloud and to put all the rules in and do that. and then basically it populates the meet schedule for everybody throughout your organization. So I'm just hopping back quick into where we were. I'm going to go back to manage teams. We went through that. Swimmers. Okay. Again, I'm the coach of Honeyniga High School. I'm pretending to be her. I'm going to show you how to enter a swim meet using SwimCloud. So you have the ability to say who's on your bench and who's actually going to be swimming the meet. So we can mark all of the men. This is a men's meet. All the men as attending. Or, darn it, Tanner, you didn't make grades this week. Colin, I'm not taking you, whatever. Okay? So this is a way for you to winnow down who's actually showing up to the meet. Okay? And show me who's attending only. Simple, simple, simple. All right, entries. Couple things. Entries are open. We've got 10 days left in the entry window. We can do entries by event. We can do entries by swimmer. Those of you on the call today that are using Team Manager and High Tech, it's totally fine. If you want to continue using that, again, not a problem. You can do your meet entries in Team Manager, and you can import them into SwimCloud. If we have enough data on your team and enough results, it says here, sorry, we cannot suggest a lineup for this meet, but we will go ahead and suggest a lineup based on our algorithm against your opponents that what we feel is going to be the best lineup for you to go with. Let's just go through here and show you how easy it is. Add entries by event. So we could enter divers. Let's just say Austin's going to dive. I just hit the button. Austin's now entered in diving. 200 medley relay. Let's add a relay. This is the A relay. Who do you want to swim it? You could type a name. So I'm looking for Jack there and Davis Cast there. Now, again, because of the dates I set up before, the seed times aren't coming through. Maybe I'll go through and let me go through these rules and I'll fix that. So if I go back to last year, when there's actual data for this team, entries should come through with times. Now, this is a neat page. I clicked on entries. Boylan High School has no entries. Harlem has no entries. But Honeyniga, again, I'm the Honeyniga coach. I know that my entries are in progress. Similarly, the Harlem coach and the Boylan coach can see that Honeyniga has started their entries. But again, I can't see their entries. All I can see is sort of like their progress on it. All right, so I'm going to click on mine. I'm going to go back to this 200 medley relay. And now see how the time showed up because I went far enough back into our data to grab it. So here we go. We'll just make a relay. Let's add an alternate for any stroke. Well, actually, let's make him the alternate for backstroke. Make him the alternate for breaststroke. Don't want that seed time? Make it 1:55. And I'm just typing. I'm not using the colon. And it overrides it. There's the seed time. Okay. 200 free. Here we go. Here's all of our times. See this button here? Top times. There are no other top times. We should be showing you the top times for your opponents. But here, let's enter Zane and him, 200 IM, Jalen and Joe, 50 free, Adam, 100 fly. Just going really fast, but you get the idea. Quick, 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 super, super easy. You can also add by name. So let's say Joseph Klein here. Well, right now we see Joseph isn't swimming any. Let's put him in the 100 breast, 50 free. Joe Lenjack, he's already in the 200 IM. Let's go ahead and put him in the 100 back. Levi Shane. Super, super easy. Go back to entries. We have 14 individuals, 15 totals, and 1 relay. Okay. Results, because the status is upcoming, we'll get to that later. If you're hosting, I'm just working down the line. So that's kind of your entries. If you're running Meet Manager and want an alternative to Meet Mobile, you can select this and we can host live results for your Meet. That's pretty cool because maybe not all high school parents have Meet Mobile or want to spend the money for it. It's super, super easy. You just hit enable and away you go. Reports. We've made a couple new reports for you on your entries. This matrix one we think is kind of easy and neat, but all the events are across the top. Your swimmers that you have entered in the meet are across the side, and it's just literally a matrix of all of your entries. You can print that out and away you go. We also give you the ability to print split sheets if you'd like. Heat sheets. Heat sheets are coming. I haven't done any of the entries for the other teams. We're building support right now that for those high schools that have assigned lanes at dual meets, you'll have the ability when you do your entries. This is a new feature that's coming up. When you do your entries, you'd be able to say, let's take this relay and put them in heat 1, lane 3. We're going to put Zane in lane 3, Caden in lane 5, whatever that may be. Or because of COVID, I know Chicago's going, team A is 1 through 3, team B is 4 through 6. You would have the ability to do that, and then we would print out heat sheets and timer sheets for you. But right now, because I don't have all the entries, that's all we do. So when you're done, you could hit submit, and your entries are ready to go. Whoever's managing the meet would know that Hananiga's events are done, rigged, ready to go. You can export your entries here to import into Meet Manager. You can export a roster here to import into Meet Manager. And away you go. Or you can mark it back in progress. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit submit. I need to work on that again. Okay, so that's kind of Meet entries. That's what happens beforehand. I went fast. We're here at a little over a half hour. I'm clipping right along. Are there any questions at all on the Meet entry side of things? Setting up a meet, setting up events, qualifying times, things like that. If so, go ahead and put them in the Q&A and I'll get to them. All right, I don't really see any. Let's go through, I've got Arkansas here. I know there's a few Arkansas coaches. I'm gonna hitting SwimCloud brings you back to here. Here are the championship meets that we've got set up for Arkansas. And we have set up for them, I'm gonna stop being CUSPA. We have set up for them all their qualifying times. Continental Bank is their, or Centennial Bank, I'm sorry, is their meet sponsor. So we're nice enough and put their logo in there. And look here, for this meet, using the 6A time standard, these are all the teams that have qualified thus far for the meet. Cabot has 14 qualifying swims. When you click on this graph, this shows you Cabot High School. They have 14 swims. These are the swimmers, and these are the times. So we're building an ongoing psych sheet with every meet result that gets submitted to us, on and on and on, right up into the date of the swim meet. Not only that, here's the psych sheet. So in 6A, thus far, there have been 2 qualifiers. In the men's, 3. Super, super cool. Again, all that gets set up based on the events and the time standards. And this time standard 6A is what gets marked. So any result that's submitted that has a time faster than this for a school that's in this region gets marked as having a qualifying person. That's a great way to use the qualifying standards. And then you Arkansas coaches that are on the call, as you go along, when the entries are open, you'll be able to go through and process your entries, just like I showed you there, and submit them. And that's how your meet's going to be run. Okay? Let's go back to, I'm going to go back to being the Hononegah High School coach. Oops. All right, let's take this meet that we just set up, Hononegah versus Harlem. And when we hit the manage button, notice here that this says entries. I'm going to change this meet to be in the past. Let's say that this meet happened last night. And when we hit save, that entries turns to digitize. For those of you that are on the call that don't have a connection from your timing system to a meet manager, or those of you that are running stopwatches in a timing sheet, we have the ability for you now to enter your swim meet results directly into here. So again, here's a meet. Let's pretend it happened last night. I'm sitting either at the table at the swim meet, or I'm sitting at home after the fact with all the timer sheets. We can go through here event by event. 200 medley relay. Well, this is the Hononegah A relay, because that, again, keep in mind, Hononegah is the only school that did entries on our system. So that's what we have. Let's say they went 154.97 or 98. Great. But Boylan and Harlem showed up. So we can go ahead and enter a relay for them. We can select swimmers. So this is entering things on the fly, okay? We don't have to have it set up. It can happen after the fact. We can put the swimmers in if we want, or we can just say it was the Harlem A relay. They went 152.16. Boylan, their A relay, went 149. Okay. Same thing on the individual events. Zane went 158.95. Caden went 209.98. And here from Harlem, Austin went 205.89. And I can't remember some of these Boylan swimmers. But if you just started typing a name, Mateus from Boylan shows up. Okay, this is a super, super easy way to get your results into SwimCloud. If you don't have Team Manager, if you're not using Meet Manager or anything like this, this gives your swimmer and your team the access to all of the power of SwimCloud. There's a question here from Griselle. I just noticed. She says, in the events tab, is the column with the levels been adjusted to reflect what the host has selected? Therefore, opponents cannot change the level and causing two separate level of points going on. Yes. So what Griselle's talking about there is the levels. We have the ability to support right now junior varsity, varsity, and open. And when this first came out early on in the girls' season, we had some issues with some teams when they entered in their results. They entered in open. Other teams entered in for varsity. And notice now, Griselle, that you don't even have that option to enter that there. And what it did, folks, is it just kind of created two levels of scoring for a varsity meet and then an open meet, or a JV meet and a varsity meet, when it was really one meet. That's one thing about SwimCloud I just want to mention. It's constantly evolving. We have 6 developers full-time that do nothing but program based on your suggestions to me or to the to our inbox or whatever. That's how SwimCloud has evolved. We grow, we mature. Each day there's something new out there, and this Digitize is just one of them. Grizel, I hope that answered your question. But you could go on and on with how that works. Okay. And when you're done with all that, something perfect. Never fails on a technological Murphy's Law. The points aren't showing up. And at the end of an event, there's a way to hit, hey, I'm done entering these events, score it. That seems to be broken right now. I apologize for that. That really stinks. But at the end of when everybody gets done entering your events, we do score it. And gosh darn, that's broken right now. Let's go through and show you a few other things that you can do with this drop-down button. You can mark disqualified, scratch, did not finish, no time, no swim. So you can keep track of all the official things like that for a meet as well, right along. Basically, the process is when you're done digitizing all the events, you hit a button that says, hey, we're done. Times get posted to the swimmers' accounts. The meet gets scored. And up here, we would show the points and all of this would work. But Murphy's rule got me. Any questions on that? Anything I've shown thus far? I don't think so. All right. So that very quickly and very easily covers kind of team setup, online meet management, setting up a meet, inviting opponents, creating an event list, creating time standards if you need to, accepting entries, submitting entries, as well as if you don't have Meet Manager, how you can do that. Now, if you do have Meet Manager and a meet exists in the system, you can upload your result files right here. Or you can submit result files to results@swimcloud.com, and they all go through the same way. Briefly, as long as we're here, I want to show you a couple of virtual meets that we have out there, because virtual meets are a big thing. We have the ability, much easier than through high tech or some other ways, to take multiple result files, combine them together, and create a meet. New York, the last couple days, had a few virtual meets. This ECIC large school meet was virtual. And I'm just going to show you folks what we're able to do. On this results tab, what we have done, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 locations competed in this meet. All 8 locations submitted their results file. This was one team. At this location, there were 2 teams, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We combined all those results and we made a meet on SwimCloud. Every bit as hopefully exciting to the swimmers and the fans as possible without being there in person. So Orchard Park looks like they walked away with this meet at 390, but it looked like the dogfight between Frontier, Clarence, and Williamsville North. 3 points, 5 points separated these. You can go right down through here. This NYS, so MIA, achieved a qualifying standard. If you click on this qualifying standard, it'll take you to the meet, and MIA is here with that. Again, you can get lost in SwimCloud just clicking on stuff. Here are splits. If your timing system exports splits, we accept them, okay? But this is a virtual meet competed in 8 different locations that we put together and combined in one place. We show NISCA points for high school. And away we go. Okay? All right, that 45 minutes, that's pretty good for me. I'm the guy that can kind of talk forever. That's kind of what I wanted to cover today. Again, team management, meet management, digitizing, and then results, qualifying times, all sorts of stuff. I strongly encourage you guys to go ahead, claim your profile, hop in, click around, try something. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Email Scott at SwimCloud.com. If you need it. Most of you, I think I've been in touch with. Are there any questions at all? Go ahead and type them in the Q&A, and I'll try to answer it. No questions. All right. So either people aren't awake on a Saturday morning, it's too early in your time zone, or I did a heck of a job. Either way. I really appreciate you all coming on this morning. I will put a recording of this on our YouTube page, and I'll be doing another one on Wednesday, very similar to what we have going right now. So